I believe that in today's job market, culture is one of, if not the most important factor for employee retention and recruiting. Today, we're going to dive deep into building a thriving culture. Hear firsthand experiences and tips on growing a successful team while keeping the camaraderie and positive environment alive.
Running a home service business is hard. So how is it that some people make it look so easy? Well, we'll tell you. This is the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. It's always good to hear the wins that successful contractors have. But have you ever thought that the best advice would be to hear about the speed bumps they encountered, the mistakes they've made along the way? We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. We want you to be successful and avoid the mistakes others have made. Let's get this party started. Welcome to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Now your host, Justin Deese.
Welcome to Freedom Blueprint Podcast. We are hanging out today with my homie, my buddy, my business partner. We got Chris.Gist hanging out with us today. And I asked him to come on and talk a little bit about culture. I know that's a buzzword that's used a lot now, but I think there's some tips and tricks that you can do to kind of improve that. So that's why I asked Gist to come hang out. So thanks for coming and hanging out, dude.
Absolutely. What's going on, everybody?
If you can't see Gist right now, he's sporting the Freedom Blueprint Podcast swag. Although I think the kids call it merch now, or is it backwards?
I'm not hip enough. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they call it merch now. And as you can see, if you're watching online, you can see that he is a Chiefs fan, which is why I always call him my homie.
Gonna repeat this year.
Yeah, well, all right. So anyway, I wanted to talk about culture, and I think that if you don't know the journey of Gist or Paradise Home Services, we did an episode. One of the earlier episodes. I don't even know what number off the top of my head, but you can go and check it out and kind of see the vibe and see the growth that happened. But I mean, we grew and scaled a business pretty quickly in a very small market, and we were able to do it and keep a good culture, which I think it's kind of hard to do. It's hard to grow and scale and keep everybody liking each other.
Yeah.
And Gist is just so good at that, and I just wanted to kind of dive in a little bit. So, culture. So when I say culture, what do you think of?
Really, it's kind of everybody here is a really tight niche. Like, not the entire group, but a lot of us feel like family, and we want to play hard together, but we work hard together too, because we know that the reward is we get to play hard together if we work hard together. So I think in the beginning, we as owners knew what our plan was, and we created our 13 core values. And in the beginning, flexibility is the main one that we pushed on everybody. And with our core leadership team, we made sure that they knew why they needed to be flexible, because our plan was to blow up. And every 3 to 6 months, we're going to change something because our team has doubled and we've got to change it now. So having everybody on board with that ahead of time and giving them a notice of what's coming, I think helped a lot keep that culture. And we for a service company, our turnover ratio is not that bad. Like, people don't want to leave here, and the people that do give a 2 weeks notice and come back. So our culture's pretty amazing here.
Yeah, we've had a lot of that. Like, and that's always been our thing is, if you leave on good terms, and I know some guys and some companies are like, you leave, you're not coming back, you're dead to me. We've never really done that philosophy, so to speak, but we've always said, hey, if you leave and you do it the right way, it doesn't mean there's always going to be a position here for you. But we do talk a lot about knowing what I know now. Would we rehire that person? And so we go through that exercise, and if the answer is yes, then we will give the opportunity to bring the person back. And we've probably had 6 of them.
There's been 6 in the last year and a half.
Yeah, that have left for various reasons.
Yeah, so even some of them, we we just hear it through the grapevine because they keep the relationships going with team members, and we hear that they're not happy. So we will have 8, 10 of us on the leadership team just send them a mass text and be like, "Hey, I heard you're starting back at Paradise next week," and then they do.
We've done that twice this year, and well, in the last 12 months, we've done that 2 different times for really key players that's worked out well. So that's always exciting. So what are some things, like, what do you think attributed to keeping a good culture amongst crazy growth?
So as we refer to it in 1.0, the first service company that I was a part of with you is we were together. You owned it. I was some kind of manager there.
Depended on the day of the week.
Yeah, it was very much a traditional blue pants, have to tuck your shirt in, wear a belt, and there just wasn't a lot of reason to celebrate having fun when you come to work. So then when we started this one, we were like, nope, you guys can wear shorts. You have to have the proper PPE in your vehicle in case you need it. You should have pants in case you got to get in an attic or a ditch or whatever. But we have Hawaiian shirts that they don't have to tuck in, because who tucks in a Hawaiian shirt?
Jimmy Buffett certainly doesn't.
It just created this fun atmosphere just showing up to work before your day even starts. So I think that had a lot of setting the tone. And then the team members themselves are what help keep that going.
Yeah, I would say, and obviously he said 1.0. We do refer to our phases and our stages as 1.0, 2.0. But yeah, at 1.0, I would say the word that I would use to describe the business was rigid.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big reason why flexibility was important to us in 2.0, was because we knew that we wanted flexibility for the culture, but we also knew we were going to be growing a lot. So it had a little bit of 2 meanings.
You can have structure with a laid back attitude.
And I think we have that. Like, I mean, there's things that we have that are non-negotiables. And I think one of the things for us is it's not a secret. Like, if there's a non-negotiable, everybody knows it.
Yeah.
It's not to say that we won't, we're not flexible in certain things, but then there's certain things that are non-negotiable that we're not flexible on. And I think the whole team knows that. And I think that helps. I think because they know the boundary, it's kind of like, I'm going to say this, and this is probably going to come off wrong, but that's fine. But you think about kids, right? When they're small kids, you have to give them a line in the sand. And if you don't, or if they like tip over, like, there's the line, there's the line. You're like, stop doing that. There has to be some consequence to it. So I think there is some
moving the line if they can.
Right. Right. Exactly. Well, I mean, just another couple feet back.
A lot of times we let people know our non-negotiables in the interview process. So if it's something that you aren't interested in, then maybe it's not a good fit.
I mean, I think about, so to kind of give a visual for anybody who's never been to our facility, is in our training room, almost like a locker room, we have this shelf. I guess I'm going to call it a shelf. It hangs down. I'm sure there's a construction term for it, and I probably should know it, but I don't. So whatever. It's a shelf that hangs down, that's drywall. And we have all the core values inside of there. And I mean, when we're interviewing, that's a big part of what we're talking about is, here's the core values, and anything in there that you don't fit or won't fit, which have we ever had anybody look at them and go, honesty, that's just not me. I'm not an honest person. But
can't be here.
But what it does do for us is it allows us to set the stage so that when something comes up, right? So it doesn't take long for it to shine if you follow core values or not, right? Like, you're either an honest person or you're not. That doesn't take long to smoke out. It certainly gives us a good talking point to go back to someone and go, remember that whole honest conversation about, core values? What you just did does not represent that. So fix it, or we invite you to go work for the company.
I think that the fact that we hold our vendors and our customers to the same core values helps prove to the team how important it is to us. And a lot of times when we're doing it with vendors and customers, it's almost in a defense to our team members. So if they bring something up and they're not happy about it and it doesn't meet our core values, then we try to address it the same way we would with the team member. Maybe this vendor is just not a good fit for us. Maybe this customer is not a good fit for us.
That's a really good point.
So
I've never thought about it from that angle.
I picture it as there was so many conversations in the 80s about, do as I say, not as I do. So your mom's smoking a cigarette in the car with the windows up, and then when you start smoking cigarettes at 16, you're the worst kid in the world. Well, I'm smoking a cigarette in the back seat. You know what I mean? Not, my mom didn't do that, for example, but it's
Yes,
kind of
did you
the
start
same
smoking at
thing.
16?
I did, but my mom did. So it's I think them seeing us support the core values helps them, live up to the core values.
Yeah, it's core values are one of those things that I don't think most people understand the importance of them. Like even from a household, like from a family, like we talk about core values as a family, and I think that's something. Obviously, public education. I won't go down that rabbit hole, but there's so many things that really should be taught to people and families, and core values is kind of a biggie. So, what are some examples of things that you feel like we did in order to have a good culture?
So as our team grew, we didn't have room in the building to have a Christmas party that included spouses and kids. So we just did a small one in December for the team members, and then we started doing a Christmas in June. Which actually we just announced this one at the end of the month. But so obviously we live in an awesome beach community, and we rent a pavilion on the beach on the sound side where it's a little calmer for the kids. And we have a cookout and a big party. All the families come, all the kids. A lot of people just bring random friends. We don't care as long as you give us a head count. We're going to cook for everybody. So we do a lot of things like that. We've done it where we've rented bounce houses and had big games for the kids to play on. And I think that camaraderie outside of the confines of doing business is something that helps really build the culture. Getting to hang out with people on a personal level.
I can remember one of them. I can remember one of them that we had, probably one of the first ones. And there was a team member, and he hadn't been with the company very long, but he came up to me. Normally I'm in a button-up shirt. Like I wear button-up shirts. And he came up, and I had probably a t-shirt, backwards hat, my beach attire. That's how I roll. And he said, I didn't even recognize you, and I certainly didn't know that you owned anything besides a button-up shirt. But so anyway, so this team member and I, like, we ended up talking for 20 minutes about nothing important whatsoever, but just, important from a world standpoint, but important to just get to know one another. And I think that's what happens is you create an environment for people to get to know, like, we're normal people, they're normal people. We want to know their spouses. We want to know their kid, that kind of deal.
Yeah, I can vouch that Deese knows how to cut loose sometimes.
I can do it. I can throw the hat on backwards.
It's the same for me too. Like, some of these, as we've gotten larger, I'm not as close to all of the team members as I once was. I still try to be, but it's just a struggle some days. But some of these guys, they've been here 3-4 months before we do a group outing outside of work. And when I see them in street clothes, I'm like, it's not what I imagined. Just used to seeing you in uniform. So it's nice to connect on that level.
So I think another thing, so I just met with somebody last week, and they were checking out our Facebook page, and the guy's comment to me was, "You guys are basically a restaurant. You cook all the time." and I, I thought it was funny. And what's funny is you and I, if you asked you and I, we would say we don't cook enough. Like we would be borderline a restaurant if we could. But I think there's just something really impactful and powerful with breaking bread with team members. And we do monthly meetings, and everybody, one of the locations, so our main location, everybody comes in and we cook. And there's just something that happens with the cooking. And we went through a period of time where we were like grabbing stuff from McDonald's, right? We were so busy being busy that we kind of dropped the ball a little bit on the importance of what that was. And I swear you could almost feel the culture shift a little bit. And
Yeah.
you and I were talking about it one day, and we're like, we're duffing this thing, man. Like, we need to get this back on track. And now that we do, it's almost like you can see the culture elevate a little bit, because now there's that time of standing by the grill. Plus, they see you sweating over that grill. So, Gist is our master chef of the, really, Gist and Danny. So if it's the smoker, it's going to be Danny, and if it's the grill, it's going to be Gist. So we have a little bit of a house divided. But I think that, they see us running around and trying to take care of them and serve them and make sure they have coffee and orange juice and food. And I think that gives a little bit of a human element to that.
Yeah, during that time of us dropping the ball, part of it was, yes, we were so busy, but being so busy, the team grew so large that it's just like, oh my God, I don't want to cook for 35 people. We ended up getting a second griddle because of it, and that made it easier. Now when the guys from Panama, or the team from Panama, does come over, we're pushing 45 employees, I think, now, and we can fire up a second griddle. We did get a pizza oven with some rewards points about 9 months ago that is still in the box, so we need to use that. I was thinking breakfast pizza would be good.
But I know Danny talked about it with the team. He was like, "Hey, if you guys there was something he said, if you guys do something as a reward, we'll do breakfast pizza." I heard him say that. So I don't know what the goal was that they needed to get done, but
I will follow
we
up
need to make
on
sure
that.
it gets done so we can have the breakfast pizza. Okay, so we've got a little bit of breaking bread. We've got a little bit of gatherings. What are some other things that you can think of that are good for culture?
Our band is amazing, so you can't miss who we are. And if our band doesn't say we want to have fun, then I don't know. Like, I've got a new neighbor that owns his own plumbing company, and we just met for the first time yesterday, and just talking about it, I kind of let him know what I do and where I'm from, and he's like, "Oh my God, I've seen those vans everywhere." And he lived an hour from our shop before he moved to my neighborhood yesterday, so it was cool to hear that. I mean, it's just a big tiki hut and wood paneling, and we got a turtle and palm trees all over it. So it just screams good time to me. It screams where we live.
And I think that it really shows our culture. Like, I think we did a good job on brand culture match. Like, this is just who we are. We're going to have a good time. We're going to get stuff done. We know we have a job to do, but business is supposed to be fun. And I feel like, for the most part, we forget that, especially when you're in it, doing it, and you're in growth mode and you're all the things, man. It's easy to get bogged down and forget that, like, shit, we started doing this because we enjoyed doing it. And I know that you and I there's been more times than I care to count that we're kind of like scratching our head, like, what the hell are we doing? Like, was this what we signed up for? And then normally as we kind of go through the problem solving process, we usually uncover that there's something from, a leadership, like, it's normal things go top down, right? So normally it's like oh crap, there's something we're not doing, or something we could do or support or whatever, in order to bring the brand and the culture back up to where we want it.
Yeah, I mean, there's been plenty of weeks that you and I have put in 70, 80 plus hours. Nobody enjoys that. And if we don't enjoy it and it's ours and we're building it, the techs don't want to do it. So
Fair statement.
Another thing that we do for our culture is we're not a 24/7 company. I'm not going to answer the phone at midnight. I don't expect you to run a call at midnight. It's just that simple. So some things can wait, and you can't let greed control everything. Obviously, we want to make money and be profitable, but there has to be a line so that everybody has their own personal time for their families and enjoy where we live, right? That's why I moved here. I like where we live. I want to go have my feet in the sand, and I expect our team to enjoy it too. That's why they're here. Most of them aren't from here, so I'm assuming they came for some reason or another, and it probably wasn't to do plumbing or HVAC. You can do that anywhere.
So I'll attest to this. Guest on every interview, you kind of have this speech you give, and I don't even know if you know. If, I don't even know that you realize you do it, but you kind of just said it now. You're like, you know, we live in paradise. We like to enjoy paradise. We want you to enjoy paradise, and you can't do that if you're working all the time. And I think the guys respect that. I think they dig it. I mean, who wants to be running calls at 2:00 in the morning? Not anybody I know. And we're not going to do it, so we're damn sure not going to ask them to do it. So from a culture standpoint, so one thing I think that we do well, and these two things kind of tie together, and I think when I first say them, they're probably not going to seem like they're a good culture. But I think we have team member commitments for everybody in the company. And team member commitment is a fancy way of job description. And we call it that because nobody wants a job, but everybody wants to be on a team. So we have that for every position that includes what a win looks like. Like, how do you win? When you come to work, how do you know if you've crushed it? Or how do you know if you need to sharpen it up a little bit come the following week? So I think that us giving them the tools of knowing if they won or not, I think that helps. And then on the flip side of that too, we do one-to-ones on a regular basis. And that gives good, honest, two-way feedback. What I need from you, what you need from me. And I do think that helps with the culture, because I think a lot of companies just kind of, I call it wish they would management, you know, WTW management. Like, man, I really wish they would fill in the blanks, versus I think with us, we dial it in a little bit where we're like, hey, here's what is expected. Here's what we need you to do, and here's what we need you not to do.
A lot of those expectations have to do with their bonuses. So we're driving them to make more money to take home to their household, and they're excited when they hit it. Like, come that last week of the month, they want to know how close, or 2 weeks before the end of the month, they're like, I've already hit it, I'm killing it. We've got a kid, I think we talked about him briefly on the last call, but he's young. He just got in his own truck a little over a year ago. We just recently lost one of our lead installers, so this kid's kind of taking the reins now. And I think this is only his second or third repipe that he's been the lead on by himself. And this repipe was a massive repipe, 3 bedrooms, water main, water heater, done in 2 days. He got on the job site and was basically barking orders at the homeowner. Okay, I'm going to need that moved. I've got to cut a hole behind that. I need this moved. I need to get this done over here. Then he went outside with the 2 helpers or apprentices and gave them goals to have done by noon. And then after noon, he gave them goals to have done by the end of the day. And they finished that repipe in 2 days. It was impressive.
So I think it's worth, because this does go with culture too. I think it's worth you telling the story of how he came on the team. Because listen, I mean, how many people say nobody wants to work these days? You know, all the trash, which I disagree with every bit of those statements about people don't want to work and there's no good people. And I disagree with that. I think that is a lazy way for us to play the victim.
Yeah. Complain.
Yeah.
Our building is right on the main drag here in town, and there's a neighborhood behind us. This kid his experience was chimney cleaning. He had no plumbing experience at all. There's kind of some pine trees and 4-foot tall native grass going back to before you get to the neighborhood, probably, I don't know, 60, 70 yards. So he took his riding lawnmower from his house and cut himself a trail where he could walk to our building. And he walked to our building every day for 2 weeks until we hired him. And he worked here as an apprentice for just under a year before he got into his own truck. I mean, the kid was going home off the clock, watching YouTube videos, researching online, just doing everything he could to be a good plumber. And he's done it very quickly. And he's making pretty good money for his age too, doing it. I think his bonus this month was 14 or 1500. Like he's just killing it.
Yeah. Again, he's early 20s, and I mean the dude has got such a bright future in our space. I don't even think that he understands some of the opportunities that he'll get by just keep doing what he's doing, right? Just grind it out, work. There's so many opportunities that are going to be out there for him. So
yeah, really proud of him.
Yeah, he's
cool to watch.
So any other thing you can think of as far as cultural?
So we obviously live on the beach, so we have beach volleyball.
Oh yeah,
and we have two teams because some of the wives play on one team, some of the husbands play on the other. But just in those two teams, I think there's 6, 7 employees. But then on top of that, there's usually anywhere from 2 to another 8 that just show up to come watch. And then they end up subbing out or they stay afterwards and want to play some more. Honestly, I think next season we might have 3 or 4 teams. It just keeps growing because of the time that we spend together and the fun that everybody has doing it.
So a little bit of backstory, how we ended up on beach volleyball, which is great. A couple of years ago, we actually had a softball team. We had a co-ed softball team. And we were if you look at the standings of we were in last place for wins, but we were first place for parties. So
yeah,
we had a good time, but we ended up having 9 injuries.
I've got the scars to prove it. Yeah.
We had a lot of injuries, so we figured that for the safety and health of our team and the growth of our company, we should take up something a little less impactful.
The sand is softer to fall on than dirt. Yes.
Yeah, and less running around. So, well, cool. Well, guess I appreciate you coming and hanging out, man. And it's always good catching up. And yeah, culture, man. Culture's important. Make sure that you're paying attention to your culture. Make sure that you, because there's a culture in every company. It's
good or bad.
Good or bad. That's kind of up to you, and you got to make sure that you're keeping an eye on that. So, Gist, appreciate you coming and hanging out, man.
Good to see you, buddy.
What a great conversation. That was really enlightening. And what's funny about all that is, even though I've lived it, there's always really good takeaways or things that I've forgotten and things that kind of just triggered my memory. And I wrote a couple things down, and I wanted to kind of go over some highlights from the conversation today that I took away. Hopefully you have some other takeaways as well. But here's the first one: is the significance of creating a family-like environment. I think that's really important because, again, with the generation that we have now, they are wanting to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And they want to be a part of something that's a little bit above maybe just a paycheck. So, when you're working, you spend a lot of time with the people that you're around, and typically you want to like those people, or you don't really want to come to work. Another thing that I put on there was about breaking bread with team members. For me, this is really a cornerstone for me in general from a relationship standpoint. I do think that there's a lot of emphasis on sitting down and sharing a meal with someone. There is a level of connection that you end up having that I think is great. And there's a lot of other takeaways that happen from it as well. But I think breaking bread is really, really important to do with just any relationship that you want to have, whether it's personal or professional. Very important. One of the other things is the importance of flexibility. Like we talked about in the episode, that was a big part of a core value that we really talked a lot about at the beginning, is about being flexible. And listen, flexibility is not a one-way street. It's a two-way street. You have to remember, we need to be flexible with team members, and they need to be able to do the same. So we can't be super rigid and not ever flexible on anything, but then ask them to be flexible with their time or their schedule or anything else. So I think flexibility is really an important and important core value. The other thing is the power of the visual reminders of the core value. I've been in a lot of shops where people have it on the back of their shirts. They have it plastered all over the walls. They have it in posters, and all that is really good. And you also have to be talking about it in every chance that you get. Your team really should know what your core values are. Gist mentioned before, we have it plastered all in our training room. We have it everywhere. We have it in the main lobby when you walk in the door in a poster. When you walk in, it sits around the whatever that thing is called that hangs down from the drywall. On one of the windows, we have stickers up that have all the core values. So we have it everywhere to just as a reminder, not only to the team, but to ourselves of why it's important and what they are, to make sure we kind of get our own personal check. The other thing is, I always love the story that he told about the plumber, but I think it's a good reminder, right? There is people that want to work. There is people that are willing to put in the time and the hustle and the energy, and don't stop looking. And even though the trades is probably not the sexiest gig on the block right now, I think you do have a lot of that generation coming up that is kind of thriving for that hands-on experience. They don't want to be pinned to a desk. They want to be out in the world solving problems, different challenges every day. And really that's kind of the core of really the home service space, right? That's really what that's about. So anyways, that was a couple of notes that I took, and I hope that was helpful. And listen, if you found value in today's episode, make sure to subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, and share with a fellow leader who could benefit from mastering culture. Until next time, keep setting those culture standards high and watching your business and leadership transform. This is Justin Deese signing off from the Freedom Blueprint podcast. Stay motivated, stay culture focused, and as always, keep crushing it.
You've been listening to the Freedom Blueprint podcast. Information is useless if not applied. So take what you've learned and go and implement it. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on social media at Freedom Blueprint for Home Services and hit the website at www.freedomblueprintpodcast.com. See you next time.